How does the old saying go? I believe the reports of Georgia's demise have been greatly exaggerated. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. This same Georgia team was in Oxford, Mississippi at this exact time last week, and they got completely manhandled, especially in the second half, losing 28-10, scoring one lone touchdown that was basically a gift. No, it was a good play. They picked off a pass, but for the offense, 21-yard drive, that's it. This looked like Georgia, the national champions of 2021-22, the best program in college football for the past 5 years. Final score from Athens in a game that they had to have. Although some people believe 9-3 would still get Georgia to the playoffs. Georgia 31, Tennessee 17. Welcome into the Voice of College Football instant analysis. And right out of the gate, Tennessee, they've been knocking on the door under Josh Heupel. And this was a prime time affair and time to step up and take control of the SEC as one of just 3 teams atop the SEC with 1 loss, and they could pound down Georgia with 3 losses. Dylan Sampson looked like he almost was prepared to do it single-handedly on the first drive. This guy's remarkable. He bounces off guys like a pinball. He runs so hard. He's so skilled, so athletic. Just a tremendous running back. 19 carries for 101 yards, and he led that first touchdown drive for Tennessee. But it was the tight end, Miles Kitselman, who dove over the top as a tight end, lining up as a fullback. Boom, quick hitter, and he dove over the line. 7-0, and Tennessee made it look awfully easy. And maybe some thought that there would be a repeat of what we saw in Oxford last weekend, because we got to say, in all these showdowns that Georgia's had this season, Alabama, Kentucky, all these games, the Ole Miss game, the Florida game, when have they really shown up and played like Georgia? Yeah, they pulled out a game against Kentucky, one of the worst teams in the SEC. And yes, against Florida, they took control in the fourth quarter against a third-string quarterback. But in these showdowns, yes, the Texas game, yeah, that one. We got that Georgia team tonight. But it took a while. Boo Carter with a punt return against a Georgia special teams unit that as a punt team had given up not 0 yardage this year, -8. So Boo Carter brings one back as he hits the seam, and Tennessee kicks the field goal to lead 10-0. At that point, the Vols had a 99-26 yardage advantage over Georgia. This is how it flipped after that. Georgia then ran off a 156-19 yardage advantage over Tennessee. Ricky Gibson with a great pass breakup at the 10-yard line, one of the better plays I saw of the day. He had another one later, but Georgia was not stopped. Oscar Delp with his first touchdown of the season to make it a 10-7 game. Carson Beck was fired up. I'm sure he has heard enough of the criticism over the last several weeks. And yes, has he played well? No. So he's heard criticism. He's being paid a lot of money. He has made it public that he wants to win a national championship, win the Heisman Trophy. Well, that's out. And he's got some other goal, I think, to be a number 1 pick in the NFL draft. Yeah, that would probably be for him the number 1 goal. That might be out the door. We shall see. He has certainly plummeted down NFL draft boards. But on this night, he looked the part, and he was fired up on that first touchdown drive as he ran a couple times and converted third downs into first downs. The first 2 Georgia drives, 7 plays, 75 yards, 10 plays, 84 yards. Oscar Delp on the receiving end of both touchdowns from Carson Beck as the Bulldogs took the lead 14-10. Subbing for Dylan Sampson, giving him a blow every so often, was Peyton Lewis, who looked like a wrecking crew as well. He only had 6 carries for 30 yards as the Dogs eventually did their due diligence on defense. But his first few carries, he was ripping up the Georgia defense as well. Key injury here for the Dogs. Dylan Bell had to leave the game due to a shin or ankle injury, and we had a tie game at 17 at the break. First play of the ball game, Arian Smith took off on a go route and did not haul in the pass. Early in the third quarter, Georgia went right back to it because Arian Smith is one of the fastest players in college football. This time, he pushed off, caught the ball, but was caught for pass interference. So that wiped out the Georgia big play, and the Vols stayed in the game. Again, it was a 17-all game at this point. You're probably wondering about Nico Iamaleava and how well he played. I think he's rebounded rather well, considering he's still a redshirt freshman, hostile environment, big game on his shoulders. But at this point, he's played quite a bit of football going back to late last season. And did he play great? No, but he made the throws, made the passes, and he was under fire, especially in the second half, as Georgia really turned up the heat and turned up the pass rush and made it difficult him from a physical standpoint, where Georgia started to impose their will. Think the Hendon Hooker Vols teams against Georgia going into Athens and being dominated when they looked like they were prepared to compete. This is what this started to look like after the first quarter when Tennessee made its initial punch. And then once Georgia counterpunched, forget it. Tennessee was possibly faking injuries. You probably heard that SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey is not taking too kindly to that, and he sent a memo to all the SEC football coaches about, we're not going to have that in our league. So salute to Greg Sankey. Well done there. Gibson with another great pass breakup at the goal line, but Carson Beck on the very next play took off when he saw the defensive backs chasing his wide receivers with their backs turned to him. Smart play by the quarterback to take advantage of the rush lane and walk in for the touchdown. 24-17 Dogs. Carson Beck, 25 of 40 for a big 346-yard night. Tennessee went on a 6.5-minute drive. That's fine. You're only down one score. If you want to take your time, move methodically down the field. However, they came up empty. Had to punt after a 12-play drive. And then Georgia just continued to wear them down. And again, this looked like Georgia of old. They sealed it with their own 6.5-minute drive. But the difference, Georgia laid the dagger. 6.5 minutes, 12 plays, 92 yards to take the 31-17 lead. And Georgia doubled up Tennessee's yardage total in the second half with a dominant second 30 minutes of this game. The Bulldogs are 8-2. They've got UMass, they got Georgia Tech. You got to think they're going to finish at 10-2 and make their way into the college football playoff. And who wants to play Georgia? Tennessee looks in good shape at 8-2, not to get to the SEC championship game, but to finish with that magical 10 wins, especially for an SEC team. They've got UTEP and they've got Vandy, but consider this. If there's a tiebreaker, of course, head-to-head could come into play between Georgia and Tennessee. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions down below. Keep in mind, we've got a Georgia channel. We also have a Tennessee channel. We've got our Georgia Live show each and every Monday, I do believe. So please check it out with Matt Green right here at the Voice of College Football.